In this video, we're going to be working on finding the equation of a line using point slope. So point slope is the form you see at the bottom, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So x1 and y1, that's your point, and then of course your slope is m. So you'll pull out a point and pull out a slope using this form. That's why it's called point slope. So here are some formulas. You need to know these. You'll be given the formulas on the test. However, you'll need to know what all of these letters means and when to use which one. So the first example says, graph the following equation. Y minus 3 equals 3 over 4x plus 3. So the first step is to identify the point and the slope. Now we said point slope was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So you'll be able to see that this lines up with y, this one lines up with x, and then this lines up with m. So the difference with point slope, these points are going to change signs when they come out. So x will go first. In the equation it was positive 3, but in the point it becomes negative 3. You're going to change the sign. And then the same thing with y. Y in the equation was negative 3, so when it comes out, it'll become positive 3. So there's your point, and then your slope is just that number that's in front of the x. Okay, so there's step 1. Identify the point and the slope. Again, and in point slope, you can pull out the point easily and pull out the slope. The second thing is going to be plot the point. Well, only one of those is a point. So I'm going to go to my graph and plot the point negative 3, 3. So I go to the left 3, 1, 2, 3, and then up 3, and put a dot. Then from there, the second step will say, okay, now from that point that you just found, go and count the slope off of that point. So similar to slope-intercept form, now I'm going to count 3 over 4. So I'll go up 3, right 4. So up 3, 1, 2, 3, right 4. And then I'll put a dot. And then I will connect my line. Now in Hawks, it will automatically graph it for you. You just have to plot the 2 points. Now the key is to plot the point first, and then from that point, do your slope. So then do the rise over the run. All right, next example is write an equation. So the directions say find an equation in slope-intercept form of the line through the point with the given coordinates. So I have a point and a slope, so I could use point slope. Now, you can always use point slope and arrive at the right answer, but because this one starts with x equals 0, you should be on alert that that's something special. Anytime you have x equals 0, that's a y-intercept. So because this thing is a y-intercept, I don't have to go through the longhand of point slope. I can go straight to slope-intercept form. Again, that's only because in that equation, or in that point, I have x equals 0. So because I have x equals 0, that means it must be a y-intercept. So I'm just going to go plug it right in. M and then plus b Now, if you went through the longhand of the point slope, you'd end up there. Just this makes it a lot easier because they've already found the y-intercept for me. Now, what if they don't already find the y-intercept? Now, this is where I go through the longhand. So I'm given a slope and a point. So I go through point slope. Now, we said that this is the point, so I have y1 is going to go in place of y1, which will go in place of that right there. So that was negative 2, so I'll have negative 2 equals m, which is always my slope, and then x minus x1 Now negative 2, right over here on the left, negative 2, that's going to turn into plus 2. So I'll have y plus 2 equals 1 times x minus 3. Now the directions say to get it into slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form means get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 2. Distribute this because I want to get it mx plus b, and right now it's something times parentheses something. So I'm going to have 1x, 1 times negative 3 will give me negative 3, minus 2. Combine those like terms. So my equation is y equals x minus 5. I don't need to write the 1 in front, so my answer would be y equals x minus 5. Alright, last example is going to take it back one step further and says write an equation. Now instead of given a point and a slope, I'm given 2 points. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is find the slope, which is subtract the y's from back to front over subtract the x's. So I have negative 3 on top, negative becomes positive, which is going to turn into 1 over negative 3. Move the negative sign up. So there's my slope. Now, I'm still working towards slope-intercept form, but I'm going to go through point slope. Because I have 2 points, you're just going to pick either one. I normally pick the first one. So there's my point and my slope. So I'll have y minus y1 and then m times x minus x1. So I'm just going to go through and fill it in. y1 is going to be positive 3 because it was negative, so it needs to become positive. My m is going to get filled in, and then x minus 3. So there's my equation. I want to get it into y equals because I want the answer in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to go through and distribute this negative 1 over 3. And then get y by itself. So there is my equation.